Hello, interventionists. It's Huey. How are you guys? So I was hoping to make a video to just kind of help people. I know sometimes teaching math is a little bit intimidating, especially if it's been a long time. And so some of these conversions, I just want to make sure that we're kind of doing the same thing. So I put in the lesson plans that we were going to teach the big G, or I put some name to it. So I just want to kind of show you what that is. So when it's your turn to teach it, you have a little bit more experience of what I'm actually talking about, because this isn't something that's from the curriculum at all. So here we go. So what I'm going to bring in is I brought an example of some of the standard unit measurements that we're going to be talking about. So I have a gallon, I have my quart example, I have a pint example, and then I have a measuring cup that counts in ounces. And so the reason I have all these is I'm actually going to have the kids fill out or figure out the conversions with water. So the first big conversion I'm going to have them do is I'm going to work on going from quarts to gallons. And so some of us have just measured this, but I feel like the more they have a physical, motion that goes on with this, the more likely they are to retain it. So this is where the gallon starts. So with the G, they're going to have a poster, and they're going to start off by writing that G. Okay? So we have this giant G, and that stands for the gallon. And so our next question is, how many of these quarts are going to fit in that gallon? So I'm going to have the kids actually call up for some volunteers. They're going to empty it in there until it's full, and they're going to realize that there are 4 quarts in a gallon, just like 4 quarters in a dollar. So with that being said, they go over to their poster. This is where they're representing the learning that just happened, and they're going to put those quarts inside this funky looking G. So their quarts need to take up all the space. You're actually going to put other letters on the inside of them. So you have to make these larger than you think. So try and fill up as much of the space as you can with 4 quarts. Hopefully yours looks better than that. It's a little bit sloppy. So right now someone could answer the question, if you had 8 quarts, how many gallons do you have? And you'd realize if 4 equals 1 gallon, if I have 8, I have 2 gallons worth. So we have that conversion going. So I'm going to go up to the top just for our own reference. 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. Okay? So now I'm moving from quarts over to pints. So a couple different things you could do, deciding how much time you have. You could hold the pint, and again with water, figuring out how many pints of water would fit into a quart. Or you can take each of them and empty into the gallon, whatever feels natural. And what we're going to do is we're going to represent a pint with a P. So inside each quart, they're going to quickly realize that it takes 2 pints to fill the quart. I hope you guys have much better handwriting than I do. This is kind of embarrassing. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. I know the camera's a little bit far away, but so we realize that for each quart, we have 2 pints to fill it. And so we can answer some more complicated questions now. So if we look over here, we say, all right, so if you had 2 quarts, how many pints do you have? And you realize with 2 Qs, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 pints would be in 2 quarts. Or if we're saying how many pints are in a gallon, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pints in a gallon. So I'm going to add to that up here. As you're seeing, it becomes very difficult for kids to remember all these conversions, and it is one of our standards. So the more they can have this benchmark, this drawing in their head, then these conversions aren't as difficult as they might seem, and there's less things to remember. So let's keep going. So we have our pints up here. So now we're going to switch over to cups. And we realize that with cups, we can fit 2 cups per pint. So I'm going to fit 2 C's inside each of the P's to represent that 2 cups fill 1 pint. All right, so looking at this, again, memorizing the picture allows them to do the conversions back and forth, and so we can answer a variety of questions from this. So getting back to my total equation up here, how many cups would be in a gallon? I just have to count how many C's that I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cups equals a gallon. So I'm going to put that conversion over here. Right? So this is the end of the big G. I know it seems awfully complicated first time through, but it's really amazing how quickly conversions can happen. So just to practice one, if I said, how many cups would be in 2 quarts? Okay? That would be something that you'd ask most adults, and they would pull out their phone or they would look for some conversion. If the kids can remember this drawing, we have 2 quarts right here. I just have to think about how many C's would fill that area. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It takes 8 cups to equal the 2 quarts. So hopefully this is helpful. Starting off with a model of water and having them dump into different containers and then representing that with a big G, I feel like that'll help our students better have an understanding of how to convert back and forth and how these different systems talk to each other. So if you have any questions, stop by and ask. Jody and I really want you guys to have as much support as possible. So that's it for me. Adios.